Welcome to Ellis B. Feaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
The longest running radio program in New York history. Every day sets a new record. Since 1925, there's been a gambling on the radio in New York City, and this one keeps on ticking. This is the John Gambling Show.
Trying to keep the spirit alive, we'll hold on. Michael McDonald with Sweet Freedom starting us off once again here on the John Gambling Show. Good morning. This one's a little bit different than those that have come in the past, and I'm thrilled that you are here with me. This is going to be, I'll just throw it out. My final radio program, or at least a portion of it. I'm going to start the program here, and I have the help of Frank Morano, who's always the steadying hand, keeping things on track, and our Vice President and General Manager, Jerry Crowley, is here as well. I'm going to retire today. I see that Bill Bratton's retiring. Today's his last day, so I figured, what the heck? Let me go out with him and go out in style. Jerry, good morning. Frank, good morning.
Good morning, John. Commissioner Bratton can be replaced. He did a fine job. He's done an excellent job by all accounts. John Gambling, though, I would have to say is irreplaceable. Now, I know that one is never supposed to say that, but I truly believe in my heart, John, that what you and your family, and they're connected, your granddad, your dad, and you. I knew your dad. What you've done for broadcasting, frankly, is different than what happens today. And you got us here, and you made the transition. I remember when Phil Boyce brought you over to ABC when you left me, and you made that transition. It was amazing. I brought you back here, and you helped. I will tell you this straight out. You helped singularly to enhance the brand reputation of Salem, New York, AM970, The Answer, by having you here. I know that because I do this for a living. And that was the power of the gambling name. And I should tell the listeners a little interesting tidbit. When you worked for us at WOR and you left the first time, the bagfuls of mail arrived. And I mean bagfuls, mail sacks, like you see in the movie. Mail sacks would come the first day, the second day, the third day, continued for weeks, John. I mean, at one time we counted up 15,000 letters. Remember that when people used to send letters,
Sure.
and it continued for months and months. And years later, when I would be in a grocery store and someone would hear my name and they might know that, had something to do with WOR, they'd say, "Why the heck did you fire John Gambling?" Well, of course, I didn't fire John Gambling. Rick Buckley thought it was time for a change. And here's the other interesting tidbit that I don't know has ever been told, that when you left OR at that time, the financial structure of the Buckley Empire, Buckley Broadcasting, which was at that time 21 or 22 radio stations across the country, was severely affected by the loss in ad revenue when you left. And I believe to my dying day that Rick regretted the fact that he let you go. And I know that because he wandered into my office when I was running OR and said, "Hey, what do you think if we brought John Gambling back? I'm going to track him down in Florida." And you remember, he drove coast to coast.
Jerry, I remember I got a phone call. from Rick Buckley. Actually, I think I might have called him because I had been dismissed from ABC. And I think I called him up and I said, "Rick, John Gambling." And he goes, "What? How are you?" He was a little taken aback. And I said, "What do you think of the idea of me coming back?" And there was silence on the other end of the telephone. And we arranged a meeting in this secret bunker in the middle of Florida. We met. He happened to be. I lived on the West Coast. He happened to be on the East Coast. So we met in Sebring, Florida. Now, I don't know if you've been to Sebring, Florida, but Sebring, Florida is the perfect place for a confab like this because there's nothing there. You'll never be seen by anybody. Anyway, we had a lovely lunch, and the rest of this is history with OR, and then it was sold off to Clear Channel Communications, and then I decided that wasn't going to work to my advantage. And Jerry said to me after I retired from doing the mornings, "You want to come over here and see what we can do with AM 970?" The answer, I said, "Sure." With a couple of caveats, I said, "Sure, let's give it a rock and roll."
And I'll tell you what, it's been a great run, John. What you did for this station, I think what you've done, in talk radio today, which we're all in, it's going a different way than in what I call the heyday of talk radio, because everybody has a very sharp edge, sharp viewpoint. They're encouraged to do that because allegedly that gets your ratings. I understand that. Salem does it. We do it because Boyce has a good touch with this, and he knows how to do it. We do it as well. But I think that the nature of your broadcasting style, John, is not around today. I don't know if it'll be around in the future. I guess at some point it'll come back, but not in the immediate future. And that we miss. We miss that kind of deliberate, tempered thought process that you bring to the table, where look, I don't want to blow too much smoke at you, but everyone who is invited to be a guest on your show says yes. Nobody ever says, "I'm not doing the John Gambling Show." And that's remarkable. That's a testament to you, my friend.
I'm proud of that as well. I've been chastised and criticized over the years for being a little bit too laid back. Excuse me, I'm trying to sit up here. I should probably explain. I wish we had the camera. I am in my bed. I can't get out of my bed.
Just as well we don't, John.
Well, Wendy was just taking a picture of me sitting here with a bed tray, and on the bed tray is a wireless modem, the comm racks, and a microphone and headphones. And I'm sitting here. I shouldn't tell you. I'm sitting here in my boxers, with no shirt on, like you would. Anyway, with a water jet, a water cooling jet wrapped around my knee, blowing cold water. Frank and I talked earlier today, and we were talking about what a great time he and I had doing this show, and we laugh constantly doing it. I think one of the things, Frank and Jerry, that has worked to my favor is I don't take myself terribly seriously. I'm just another voice, a voice in the wind.
Yeah, I think that may surprise a lot of people, John, because you always you do come across as if you are sort of an elder statesman in radio, that you have this lifetime of experience, and you have the sort of, for lack of a better description, at times a waspy way about you. We don't think of you necessarily as a clown that's doing pratfalls and throwing seltzer bottles at people, but you have out of anybody that I've ever worked with, the most self-deprecating sense of humor that I've ever experienced. And not to repeat everything that I said to you when we spoke privately, but I think the last 2 years working with you, John, has not only been a real pleasure because we're such good friends and have been for I guess 11 or 12 years, but because I think you've done some of the best radio of your entire career over the last 2 years here. Some of the content that we've created, it's been a real honor to be a party to. In terms of what Jerry said, you redefined what has made this radio station what it is. I mean, we went from nobody knowing we existed to being mentioned in the newspapers all the time because you would get newsmaker after newsmaker on with you. Just looking at our following and social media, I think when it was announced you were joining our station, we got 1,000 new Facebook likes within a month, and it's been a real. I'm incredibly sad that you're leaving, but I'm going to miss you a great deal, and I'm proud to count you as a friend, and I've learned so much from you that I'm really going to miss you a great deal.
Well, thank you very much, Frank. And
haven't we done this already, though, John? I mean, 2 or 3 retirements already. Can't we just give you a couple of weeks off?
There was half a one. There was a half a one. And Crowley's figuring he's not saying anything at the moment because he's trying to gin up another comeback.
I'll figure it out. No, I'll figure it out. I'm working the deal right now. You're right.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. But I should explain to my friends, the listeners, and you, the listeners, are exactly that, my friend. And you guys have made the difference here. 40 years in New York radio. It's overwhelming. And can't do it, obviously, if there's nobody on the other side of the radio. 40 years ago, there were those that said, the kid's not going to make it. He's terrible. Give him a couple of years and he'll be selling cars out in New Jersey in Lodi someplace. That didn't happen. And the reason is that you and I, the listeners, you and I connected. And when I say, I hate talking about the listeners, you, the listener, because there's only one of you. It's a one-on-one. I don't know your names. I haven't seen your faces, but you tune around every day at 11 o'clock or over the years in the morning, and you don't know me either, yet you and I had a relationship of some sort that was long-term. And I think those are the kind of things, even as sort of ethereal as radio is, with the communication from me to you, from one person to another. It hardens up after a while, because every time somebody talks to somebody else on a regular basis, you learn a little bit about them, and every once in a while they make you smile, and you form a really good relationship, and I'm blessed with millions of relationships.
Well, that's true.
Absolutely spectacular.
That's true. John, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a prediction, which I love to do. But before I do that, let me say that, because I'm afraid for my life and my family's wellness, I want everyone out there to know that I had nothing to do with your leaving. You're leaving because of your broken kneecap, not anything that we have done.
Yeah, exactly. So that is true. The kneecap is not the reason I'm retiring. Jerry knows, and others know, that I've been thinking about and talking about this for quite some time. And in fact, serendipitously, Jerry and I have talked within the last month and a half about my retiring, and it was going to be planned to be after the election, at the end of November, around Thanksgiving. Then, of course, this disaster. And it is a disaster on my knee, falling down, and the slow recovery, painful recovery that has prevented me from doing anything. I am completely, at the moment, totally immobile, and that put those two components plus some others. I came to the conclusion now is the right time. How you come to the conclusion that unless you're retired out, unless your business has rules and regs that you have to go, how do you come to the conclusion it's time to retire? I cannot answer the question, but I have reached that point, and I don't quite know how I did that, but here I am, and it's time. I feel great about it. My family is fantastic. Everybody's in place. I love my boys. I got three fantastic young men. Two of them are celebrating their 36th birthday. How many of you listening remember when Andrew and Bradley were born? And then, of course, there's William as well. But three boys who have chosen three equally spectacular women to spend the rest of their lives with, and one of them already has presented us with a grandson, Jack. He's a glorious little boy. So when I look around and when I look back, I smile. How could you do anything but? It's fantastic where I have ended up, but it is such. It is such, and today is just that. So, gentlemen, I don't know what you want to do, if anything, but I think that everything comes to an end.
Well, I'm hoping Jerry has at least prepared a cake or something that even if you can't move, that we can all enjoy as a testament to your career. And you talk about the listeners, John, and everything that you guys have done for one another, the listeners. The two people that I don't think you're considering in making this decision, John, are Wendy and me, because Wendy is now going to have to put up with you for an additional 2 hours a day. I mean, this poor woman is already a candidate for canonization, and now she's going to have to keep you entertained for 2 hours. That's not fair. And then, John, I'm going to go crazy without you here. Who am I going to vent to about all the crazies in the hallway here?
Well, I will tell you, it's funny you brought Wendy up because she is the centerpiece of my life and our life. And in the discussion, she's been part of the discussion about retirement for a very long time. And every time I brought it up, I said, this is it. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna retire. She goes, no, you're not. You are not retired. and so I kind of looked at her and I went, she gave me some sort of reasons why I shouldn't do it. And I said, okay, and dropped it. Then I'd bring it up again. You're not retiring. So finally, I've worn her down, and I think that she is coming to grips. I don't think she has come to grips, but I think she's coming to grips, and we'll be fine. The one thing she has said to me, she goes, "You better find something to do, because if you're sitting on the couch watching Judge Judy every afternoon, I'm out of here." So I will find something to do.
Well, John, that's why I don't think it's over. Your kneecap will get better. Your golf game never will. And
well, that's the truth.
And I think you'll be back at some point in some fashion. And I pray to God that's the case, because it's been a great run with you, friend. It's been a great run.
Well, Jerry, thank you. And Frank, thank you. And I want to thank anonymously all of the wonderful people that I have had the opportunity to work with. I mean, just some of the absolute greats in radio. I'm not gonna start with names at all, but some of the absolute greats and the opportunities that have been presented to me that I have been able to do because I was lucky enough to get into radio in the largest marketplace in the world, New York City, and to actually be able to be successful. Have some level of success here is, it makes me feel really good, really good.
God bless you, John. Happy trails.
Speed, John. Godspeed.
All right, guys, thank you. And to everybody listening here, thank you very much. God bless you all. We'll see you around.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
Carol Marks is one of America's leading experts on upper demographic issues and a champion in the battle against ageism. She hosts a weekly radio program devoted entirely to making life better for America's seasoned citizens and their families. Getting older requires strength and courage. Getting older requires community. Getting older requires information. A Touch of Gray, the talk show for grown-ups, Sunday afternoons 1 to 2, right here on AM 970, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I'm always telling people to buy your product.
They're wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I love the product.
Thank God for Balance of Nature.
You know what, I just feel as if out of everything out there, it just makes the most sense.
I really enjoy the product.
I find them just wonderful.
I love it. It's definitely a good product, no question about it.
I love the Balance of Nature. It's really good. I really like it. Your product is phenomenal.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code THEANSWER.
America was built by people with a few dollars and a dream. And while many don't know it, there's one path to success that still only requires a dream and about $10. That's right. If your dream is to start or grow your business, something as simple as the right business card could make all the difference. And today at Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 full-color business cards for only $9.99. That's right, only $9.99. Just go to Vistaprint.com and enter promo code 7777 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 7777.
Are you fed up with the state of New York? With the corruption, the waste, the incompetence? Well then, tune in Sunday morning at 10 for Effective Radio with Bill Samuels. Bill's not a politician. He's not a pundit. He's an innovator, a fighter, a maverick. And now, after a lifetime of success as a businessman, he's taking on his toughest challenge yet, making New York great again. This isn't a talk show. It's about action. Every Sunday morning at 10, join Bill and his co-host Morgan Peckma as they shake up the state. Get ready for Effective Radio with Bill Samuels every Sunday morning at 10 on AM970. The Answer.
Don't mess with Bill. Don't mess with Bill. Don't mess with Bill.
I want to talk to you about getting rid of all that nasty stuff. If you've got a basement or a crawl space and you have an older home, newer homes, it doesn't really have too much of an issue. But if you have an older home, you definitely have the issue that can create asthmatic symptoms like sneezing and coughing this time of the year. In the past, you have used the dehumidifier to try and attack all of these things. Well, that's the old-fashioned and expensive technology. There's a smarter way to go. It's the Wave Moisture Control Unit, which will reduce humidity levels throughout the entire house. Healthier environment, gets rid of the odors, the moisture, and it also expels harmful gases, toxins, and radon, which I know in New Jersey can be a problem. Wave is automatically controlled without the heartache of the buckets of water and the filters that take all sorts of time and are headaches, and it costs only pennies a day to run. I've had one of these, though. The Wave Moisture Control Unit really does what they say it will do. So go find out. Go to mydryair.com, mydryair.com. Don't delay. The performance is guaranteed. Then I want you to call and order one up. 888-985-WAVE, 888-985-WAVE for the Wave Moisture Control Unit.
Michael Medved, coming up at 3 on AM 970. The Answer. Call John now at 877-970-2999.
Minutes before 11:30. This is Frank Morano, John's producer until today, and I've been privileged to sit in for John many, many times over the course of the last 2 years, and it's always been a great honor to do so. I got to tell you, I am pretty bummed. Not only is this, to say the very least, the end of an era, I mean, a 90-year tradition coming to a close, but on a personal level, I've known John for over a decade, and I have come to view him as one of my closest friends. And really, you probably get a sense of this on the radio, because I know this by how many of you have written in and called John and called me and said that you view John as a friend, even though you've never met him. But he's really one of the kindest and most generous and funniest people that I've ever met in my entire life, and I am really going to miss working with him on a daily basis. And like I told John, there are a lot of moments working here, I guess like in any workplace, where I just want to pull my hair out. I want to scream. I want to just, because of a variety of circumstances. And John was always the one person over the course of the last 2 years that I could turn to, and he was always there to be a confidant, to offer very sound advice, and to really let me vent to him about whatever was bothering me, and it was just extraordinarily helpful on a personal level. I shudder to think about what it's going to be like without him now. I don't know what's going to become of what's going to be on in this time period. I asked Jerry right before the show, and he, I think, is going to have some meetings today and over the weekend to determine what's going to happen as of Monday. So quite frankly, I don't know. A number of you have written to me and asked what's going to happen with this time slot. I have no idea. I have my suggestions. I'm sure many of you do as well. Obviously, my first hope would be that as soon as John stops taking some of these painkillers, which are clouding his judgment, that he'll think better of retirement and decide to come back to the radio. But we'll see if that's the case. You know what I'd like to do? There's a lot of news, and we're going to get to it all. Because that's what John would want to do. I think, not that he's dead. I know for a fact this is what John would do. Is just do a regular show based on the many things that are in the news. But if you have a John Gambling anecdote that you want to share, a John Gambling story, a John Gambling memory, and it could be the previous John Gamblings as well, his dad or his grandfather, John B. or John A. Gambling, as well as John R., you're welcome to give me a call at 877-970-2999, and we'll turn the rest of this half hour, or even maybe the whole next 90 minutes into a bit of a John Gambling tribute show. To the extent that you would like to do so. And if nobody calls, we will comment on whatever's in the news. 877-970-2999. This is Frank Moreno on this, the very last edition of the John Gambling Show on AM 970, The Answer.
News, opinion, passion. This is AM 970, The Answer.
74 degrees with a mix of sun and clouds. What's going on? We have the answer. This report is sponsored by Lead Safe America. Some women in the city are on edge after suspects allegedly burned or attempted to burn 5 women in Midtown Manhattan.
Police have now released surveillance video of some of the suspects. They're looking for a handful of men and women involved in these incidents, which police are now calling anti-gender crimes. 5 women burned or tried to be burned in about a 2-hour span Saturday in Midtown, and that has some women on edge.
There's been a lot of incidents that has been happening, like slashing on the subway and stuff, so I have definitely become more aware of my surrounding. Definitely.
You just have to be cautious all the time. I mean, I'm constantly looking.
Police say in one case a man approached a woman with what looks like a lighter and burned her arm. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
A candlelight vigil being held tonight in Brentwood for 2 murdered teenage girls.
A vigil for 15-year-old Nisa Mickens and 16-year-old Kayla Cuevas is set for 6 tonight at Brentwood High School's football stadium. The best friends found beaten to death earlier this week in Brentwood, 2 days apart. Their families, including Nisa's grandfather, are distraught.
She didn't deserve this. Neither one of them deserved this.
Suffolk County Police think the girls' murders may be gang-related. A $5,000 reward being offered for information. Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio, New York.
The Mets host the Twins tonight. The Yankees are in Boston. Do you live in an historic home? Are you renovating? Your children could be at risk of lead poisoning. It takes just a microscopic amount of lead dust to poison a child. Learn more at leadsafeamerica.org. Traffic is jammed on the Bronx approaches to the George Washington Bridge, a combination of an earlier stalled tractor-trailer that was just cleared from under the apartments and also ongoing construction on the lower deck over to Jersey that knocks out a lane till later this afternoon. Bumper to bumper between Queens and Brooklyn on the BQE. Both directions, you're facing construction on the Kosciuszko Bridge. Sunny mid-70s today. Now you know how not to go. I'm Tom Note with Frank Moreno in for John Gambling on AM 970, The Answer.
Are you looking for a radio show that gives you straight talk, common sense, and the facts? Are you looking for a media outlet which offers all points of view? If the answer is yes, then listen to the Cats Roundtable every Sunday morning starting at 8:30 right here on AM 970, The Answer. The Cats Roundtable is hosted by John Catsimatidis, a successful businessman who came to this country as an immigrant and built a multi-billion-dollar business empire. He's met presidents, world leaders, governors, mayors, congressmen, state legislators, and you'll hear them all on the Cats Roundtable. Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, liberals, and everything else you can imagine. You won't just hear their take on the news. You'll hear them make the news, whether it's local, national news, or international news. You can read about it in the newspaper on Monday, but hear it first on the Cats Roundtable. Sunday mornings at 8:30, right after Morano in the Morning. Only on AM 970, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Michael Riedel, and if you like my theater column in the New York Post, you're going to love my new show, On the Town with Michael Riedel. Listen every Saturday morning at 9 as I explore New York City, talk about the movies, television, wine, the best places to eat, and, of course, Broadway and all of its great shows like Wicked, The Phantom of the Opera, and The Lion King. And because we're in New York City, you never know what special guest might swing by the studio and say hello. So join me on the Town Saturday mornings at 9, only on AM 970, The Answer.
I want to talk to you about Blue Rock Energy and saving money on your electricity and your natural gas supplies. What is Blue Rock Energy? Well, they have consultants here in the New York City region, and they can have one stop by your place, and they kind of check out how your energy is being consumed, make some suggestions, and the bottom line is energy costs are going to decrease dramatically per month simply by switching to Blue Rock Energy. Blue Rock Energy is a local natural gas energy provider, puts you in charge. New York State-based company, serves residential, commercial, and industrial. So why not see what they can do for you? Blue Rock Energy, 877-280-4909, 877-280-4909, or go to BlueRockEnergy.com. Stop, think, switch, and save with Blue Rock Energy.